It's time for the Douglas Coleman Show. Mr. Smooth and Savvy is joined by guests from all walks of life, from the entertainment industry to authors to political and social commentators, the famous and not so famous, the controversial and the light and fluffy. We have it all. Now, here's Douglas Coleman.
Okay, please welcome to the Douglas Coleman Show, Zane Carson Carruth. Hello, Zane. How are you?
I'm just fine, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. Thank you for coming on the show. I was just reading over your bio. There's a lot of things on here. You're a busy woman, huh?
I'm busy. Yes, that's right.
The first thing, I know you've got a book to promote. You've got children's books. How many books do you have published at this point?
I've published 7 plus a coloring and activity book. So 7 hardback books, and they're all in Spanish as well as in English.
Oh, great. That's fantastic. The new one that you've got out is called Bella and the Haunted House.
Yes.
That's the new one?
That's a fun little book.
Okay. Well, we'll get to that in a second. I want to get my audience a little bit of get to know the author sort of portion of the interview, if you don't mind. And the first thing on here that I was curious about, it says, a certified business etiquette and protocol professional. All right, what is that? What is that all about?
Well, just an etiquette professional. I am a certified etiquette professional. I write articles for magazines, and I've, done some little TV segments, but I've always been fascinated by etiquette, and so I got certified in it, and I've really enjoyed it. Is
that like one of those finishing schools that women used to go to back in the 40s and 50s?
Well, possibly, but maybe not that complicated, but it does teach basic etiquette, and that we all need desperately. If you ever go out in public much, you could attest to that.
Well, I certainly think that a lot of people that are out there now need lessons in just general politeness and, respect for fellow man. I think people have gotten very rude compared to when I grew up. I mean, people would say good morning and hello, and now people can't be bothered to say anything except get out of my way.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
when they bump into you, they used to say, "Oh, excuse me, I apologize." But nowadays, they just glare at you. Yes, we've come a long way. We've lost a lot of civility over the years for some odd reason, but we need to recapture that.
So is that what you're doing? Is you're going into businesses and teaching them how to be more polite to each other, or?
No, what I mainly do and what I enjoy doing, because I love to write, I write etiquette articles for different magazines. They'll contact me and say, we need for this time of year, we need an article about thank you notes, or how to RSVP, or the importance of, showing your house guests a good time, or teaching your kids different things. So it's mainly what I like to do is just write articles.
Oh, it's funny you said thank you notes. You just reminded me of my mother. When I was a little kid, I remember having birthday parties, and after the birthday parties, I had to sit down and write thank you notes to everybody who came and brought presents.
Well, yes.
And
you should do that.
I suppose now email would be the way to do it, if people do that at all. I don't know.
Well, I think that's kind of gotten to be an acceptable method. I mean, I think a handwritten one is best, but sometimes you just don't have time for that if you're traveling and you want to make sure to acknowledge a gift or a phone call or some sort of act of kindness. An email, I think, is better than nothing.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, they don't even teach cursive writing in school anymore. I just found that out.
That's insane.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, we had to go through the whole deal, and they don't even teach it anymore. I think handwriting is going to disappear. I think people are going to get so used to keyboard that the ability to hold a pencil and actually make a sentence is just going to be gone in the next generation. I hope not, but
well, you're absolutely right. And how are they going to even read our notes if they're not taught cursive?
Yeah.
Because everything we've ever done, this generation and past, is all in cursive. So I don't know. It boggles my mind. But now some private schools still teach cursive.
Well, that's good. I think it's good. I don't want it to be a completely lost art. The other thing I wanted to ask you about was the rodeo. I see rodeo and livestock mentioned on here a few times with your husband. Brady is his name? And
yes.
Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Now, I have never been to a rodeo. Is it just like what I'm thinking of bull riding and a lot of people with cowboy hats and boots and all of that? A lot of yeehaw.
Well, that show is the largest rodeo in the world. So whatever you're thinking, it needs to be on steroids times 20. On the grounds, on an average day, and it runs for 28 days, is a minimum of 100,000 people. The stadium holds 70,000 people, and the best artists in the world, entertainment artists, come and perform at the rodeo on their way up. Everybody who's anybody, Elvis Presley, Cher, Taylor Swift, Beyonce, they all, and then, you've got your country and western singers too. But yes, it is bull riding and, calf roping and mutton busting. But the nice thing about that rodeo, it's a nonprofit, so they give away $25 million every year in scholarships to kids. $25 million. Even during COVID, they gave away that much money, and they didn't even hold the rodeo. They honored their commitment. So it's something else, and it's a huge money maker for Houston, but it's huge and impacts children, the scholarship kids. They come back year after year raving about what that scholarship did for them and how it got them started. And so many of these kids are first-time English speaking in their family. So it's a big deal.
I bet the food is really good there.
The food is good because we've got great barbecue in Texas and we've got great Mexican food. And, and then there's, fair food because there's a huge fair carnival. And so, you've got fried Oreos and fried everything. And no, it's something. People love it. It's 28 solid days of fun. And my husband was chairman of the board for 3 years. So we go every day, every performance. We're there. So.
Do you own cows?
No, but I own racehorses. But no, I don't own cows.
Oh, racehorses. Okay. Wow. The last thing I wanted to ask you before we pivot over to your book, it says that you currently host a live broadcast titled Elegance, Polished Demeanor, and Posh Living. So this is similar to what we were talking about with etiquette, or is this something like Martha Stewart?
Well, it's kind of gotten a little diluted because right now I've got it on pause because of the holidays and all that, and I travel a lot. But I bring on different guests, and they just kind of share what they have been doing, and it's been very successful. I had on a health coach, and believe it or not, I brought on a guy that told us all about radon, which fascinated me, which I learned a lot from. So I have different guests on there each month. I only do it one day a month.
So it's a talk show?
It's like a talk show, yes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds very interesting. Do you do demonstrations, or is it purely a sort of sit-down interview kind of show? It's
just a sit-down interview type show. It's online, and we're live. It's edited. It's live, but then it comes on the next day, so we have the ability to edit if you sneeze or something. But no, it's been very successful.
When you say live, you mean you have a studio audience?
No, that's just what they call it, live, because they record it live and then they edit it. So it's not shown live. So that's kind of a misdemeanor. Not a misdemeanor. That's a little mistake. Just put it like that.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
In other words, the conversation, like we're recording right now, but this is live. We're not going to do too much editing other than just tighten it up. And it goes out pretty much the way we do it. I don't like to make big cuts and rearrange things. I mean, unless we have technical problems. So you record it as it is, and then you just polish it up. There are some people when they speak that tend to pause too long, or they and you have to chop that out so it doesn't, because it just seems to be a little bit annoying, particularly on an
it wears you out.
only. Yeah, on an audio only show, and people will just tune out. So you have to sort of tighten it up, but the essence of the conversation remains the same, I would say.
Yes. And that's what we do. I mean, if somebody really flubs and say, cut, let's just start over at this sentence, that has happened before too. So, that kind of gives you a little bit more freedom to be spontaneous.
Yeah, I hated doing live. I was on FM radio for a few years, and I really despised it because things inevitably would break down, and the comments you would get would always be about the breakdown. And people thought it was so funny that I was talking to myself because the call dropped, and I didn't realize the call had dropped. So when podcasting became a thing, I said, you know what? I'm starting my own. I'm not I'm not working at radio stations anymore, and I haven't looked back. So now it's
good for you.
Now podcast is really it. I mean, they're getting more views and more listens than terrestrial radio. So
and so many people have podcasts. So many famous people that we know about, and you learn so much from different specialists and experts.
Oh, absolutely. Let's get over to your books. So you've got quite a few children's books. Why did you start writing children's books?
It was just a fluke. I always liked to write, and I always kept a spiral notebook and a pen handy, and I was waiting for my daughter to come home one Sunday afternoon, and I just started writing a story about a little fairy that was quite pampered. I patterned it after my daughter, and halfway through the story, I thought, oh my gosh, this could be about the tooth fairy. So the book just kind of wrote itself. But I didn't know how to get it published. That was, 25, 30 years ago. So I just put it in a drawer until I went for my etiquette certification, and the lady had published a book on children's etiquette. And I talked to her how she did it, and I just did the same thing. So I self-published, and it's been a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoy it.
So Abella is kind of modeled after your daughter?
Absolutely. She looks like my daughter with thick blonde hair, big blue eyes, and quite rambunctious and adventuresome.
So let's see. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus the new one there's 6 in this series?
Well, there's 7. There's Bella and the Almost Racehorse. Do you see that one? Bella gets a new hairdo. Sometimes some of them get forgotten about for some reason.
Oh, I see.
But no, there's
Bella's first tooth, the world's first tooth fairy. Abella goes to the rodeo, and Abella starts a tooth fairy school.
What about the magic wand one?
No, that's not on here. I don't think all your books are on here. I think those are just those.
Yeah. Okay.
It also says that you've done a 3D animated film for Abella's first tooth. Yeah.
Yes. The guy who produced Thomas the Tank, Rick Sigelcow, he produced it, and then a guy by the name of Dennis Scott wrote the intro song, and he's won 2 Grammys.
Wow.
But we're shopping it, but so far we haven't been too successful. They kind of like all those superhero type cartoons, and this is about the tooth fairy or a fairy. So we'll get there. we'll get there. My next, I'm going to approach Angel Studios because they're a Christian network, and I think it'll fit for them, but I don't know. I haven't gone that far yet.
Well, there are so many streaming platforms out there, and it seems like there's 100 more every day. So I'm sure you'll find a home for it somewhere.
Yeah, because it's cute, and kids love that.
Yeah.
And it's about friendships and being kind to one another, and it's just good, wholesome, honest entertainment for children.
Well, I think we need that. I think we definitely need
do.
That. Yeah. So is it available anywhere now, or are you just kind of hanging on to it?
No, it's on YouTube. It's Abella's First Tooth. But the caveat is you have to have the apostrophe S. It's Abella's with apostrophe S First Tooth. And it's a full 5-minute 3D color video. It's adorable.
You know what? I'm going to take
I would encourage everyone to go look at it.
Okay. All right. Well, Zane, I think we're going to wind this down. So the latest book in the Abella series is called Abella and the Haunted House. Has it been released?
Yes, it has, and it's done real well. And it sells real well overseas in the UK and Germany. They seem to really love that book. But it's written about a house in my neighborhood that I wanted to buy, but my husband said no. So the people who bought it are going to tear it down and build something even bigger. So I wrote that book so it wouldn't be torn down in my mind.
Well,
but
did your husband?
Who knows?
Did your husband not want to buy it because he thought it was haunted?
No, he didn't. No, I made that all up. It's not haunted. Right. It's a beautiful house. It's just like the picture on the book. It's fabulous. No, he just thought, what do we need that big old house for? Well, I could have told him what we needed that big old house for, but he wasn't listening.
I thought maybe he heard stories that there were ghosts in it or something.
No, I just purely made all that up.
All right. Well, Zane, thanks so much for coming on the show. It was nice talking to you. Last question. Do you have a website that you want to give out?
Oh, yes. You can go to Zane Carruth, CARRUTH.com, and it lists all my books, my interviews, everything. And then remember to go to Abella's First Tooth on YouTube. Abella apostrophe S First Tooth on YouTube.
Okay.
You'll enjoy it.
We'll put both links in the show description so people can get right to it.
Thank you.
All right. Again, thank you for coming on the show. It was nice meeting you. And best of luck with everything you're doing.
Yes. Well, you have a wonderful holiday, and hope to talk to you soon.